back to Lily with 2 L's, and I'm Lily with 2 L's. Now in today's video, I'm going to be discussing the Lizzie Borden axe murder case. Now, if you are into like true crime or paranormal stuff like that, it's a really well-known case worldwide. It's an ongoing mysterious case that's still a mystery to this day, and today I'm just going to be doing my makeup and discussing it. Now, quick disclaimer, I'm not in any way, shape, or form trying to disrespect the Borden family. I understand it was a very sad case that happened. I'm just kind of discussing it because I love true crime stuff. And if you're curious about any of the products I'm using in today's video, they'll all be linked in the description. Alright, let's get right to it. Lizzie Andrew Borden was born on July 19th in 1860 in Fall River, Massachusetts. She had her father, Andrew Borden, and her mother, Sarah Borden. Now, it is said that Sarah passed away in 1863 because of just a lot of like spinal and like uterus complications that happened. Also, Lizzie had an older sister named Emma. Now, in 1863, Andrew remarried to a woman named Abby, who became Abby Borden and Lizzie and Emma's new stepmother. Now, reportedly, Lizzie and Emma did not like Abby at all. It was just like a very kind of tense relationship between them. Lizzie and Emma were really thinking that Abby just wanted Andrew for his money because Andrew was a very successful and wealthy businessman. He had like millions of dollars in today's money. And it is also said that Lizzie was very concerned at the fact that she thought that maybe that when Andrew passed away that all the money would go to Abby and nothing would go to her. Now, it said as time went on, things just got even worse with the relationship with the family. Lizzie and Emma, they didn't call Abby like stepmother or mother or anything like that. They just called her Mrs. Borden, and everyone was just really tense. The relationships were really rocky throughout the family. It even said that Lizzie refused to sit and eat with them at dinner time, which is really, really sad. But it all went really downhill in August of 1892. On a Thursday morning on August 4th, 1892, Mr. Borden had to leave his house early for a business thing. It was like a business meeting or work trip or something like that. Now, when Andrew Borden left his house for his work trip, he left the house alone to 3 people. Lizzie Borden, their maid Margaret Sullivan, and Abby Borden. Keep that in mind. It was just the 3 of them. It was reported at the time that Emma was away on a trip, like visiting someone. When Andrew Borden got home from his work trip, he was really tired. He decided to go onto his couch and just take a quick power nap. But then at around 11:15 a.m., Lizzie Borden found her father dead on his couch, murdered. According to Lizzie Borden's testimony, she found her father dead on the couch. It had been reported that he had been murdered by being repeatedly struck in the head by a very sharp object. And then they found Abby's body upstairs in her bedroom. Now, it is reported that each of them were struck 11 to 19 times in their face. It was like a really, really brutal murder. It was determined that the murders took place about an hour in each of each other. And the murder weapon has still to this day not been like discovered, but there was a hatchet axe, just the head, in the basement that was found. It didn't have any blood on it, but it had no handle, so everyone just assumed that that was the murder weapon. Lizzie was eventually arrested on August 11th and tried for the murder of both her stepmother and her father. Now, when Lizzie was in court, it is said that she kept changing her story from literally everything. She was looking for iron, and then she was eating pears in a barn, and there wasn't a scrap of blood on her clothing when the police came, so eventually the jury just said not guilty. But that still doesn't mean she wasn't suspect. It is said that a couple days before the murder of Andrew and Abby Borden, that Lizzie had been acting very strange. A couple days before the actual murder, she attempted to buy a type of poison, and then again, a couple days before the murder, she told her friend that something bad was going to happen to her father. And then, a few days after the murder, she was accused of burning a dress in a stove. And like I said before, she had been changing her stories from mix in court, which is very, very odd and suspicious. But like I said, there were 2 people in the house at the time of the murder, Lizzie and Bridget Sullivan. Bridget Sullivan was born in 1866 in Ireland and worked for the Bordens as a housemaid. Now, it is said that she was working for them 9 months before the actual murder occurred. During the time of the murder, Bridget was upstairs on the 3rd floor resting because she had been cleaning the windows. Now, here's just a fact. When Abby Borden was murdered, it was said that she was folding and making the bed in her room on the 2nd floor, and that is because Bridget was not allowed on the 2nd floor because they didn't trust her, I guess. That's what I've heard, but it's not really that important to the story. I just learned it and I thought it was a factor. But when she was resting on the 3rd floor from cleaning, she heard Lizzie screaming for her downstairs, saying someone had killed father, Maggie, come quick. By the way, the entire family called her Maggie, I guess because it was the name of a previous maid, and they just called her Maggie. So if you hear me addressing someone as Maggie, it's actually Bridget Sullivan, the maid. But yeah, and one weird thing that happened in court is that when Lizzie was being tried for the murder and being accused of that, Maggie defended her in court, saying she was not guilty and all this stuff, which I kind of find a little weird, but yeah, that's a little suspicious. She kept saying no, it wasn't Lizzie, it wasn't her, it was somebody else. But there is still one more person who might have had something to do with the murder of Andrew and Abby Borden, and his name is John Morris. John Morris was Lizzie's uncle and Andrew's brother. Now, apparently, Andrew and him had a pretty rocky relationship. Apparently, he kept saying things like, your daughter should be married, and why don't you have electricity in your house? Because apparently, Andrew didn't marry his daughters off to people, and he kind of had a problem with that, which, I don't know, seems kind of suspicious to me. Now, it is said the night before the murder, John, slept over at the Borden's house, and he actually, ironically, stayed in the exact room where Abby had been murdered. But anyways, he slept over at their house, and it was said that he had been planning to meet with Andrew the next day to talk about work or something along those lines, and then he left the morning of the murder. Anyways, now here's the part where I think it's really suspicious. Now, so when he came to talk to, he went back to the Borden house to talk to Andrew, the police were already there because they had been called for the murder of Andrew and Abby. And instead of, going to them and saying oh my gosh, what happened, he didn't even talk to the police at all. Instead, he began to walk through the side of the house over to a pear tree and sat down and started eating pears. Okay, I'm just gonna get into a small tangent right here. If I ever went to my brother's house, even if I had a rocky relationship, because I have a brother, if I ever went to his house and saw police outside of it, and I would immediately be oh my gosh, what happened? I just think it's so weird that anyways, I digress. Anyways, but like I said, he was sitting down eating pears, and the police came over to him and was who are you? What are you doing? And yeah, that's pretty much all the information I got out of that, and I just think it's super, super weird. But when they started doing alibis and investigations about him, they found a solid 90 minutes of his day, and they could not figure out what he was doing. He had no alibis, and to this day the murder is still a mystery. After Lizzie Borden and Bridget Sullivan got off the court and everything scot-free, they never had to face any time. Lizzie went on to stay in Massachusetts for pretty much the rest of her life until her death in 1927. Her and her sister ended up buying a bigger house in Massachusetts and stayed there up until both of their deaths, I'm pretty sure. Lizzie actually worked a lot with animals and helping animals. Bridget, about a year or so after the murders, decided to go back to Ireland to visit home, and then ended up going to Montana, and she worked in Montana up until her death in 1948. And I could not find any information about John and what he did after the murders, but if I were to guess, I'm guessing he stayed in Massachusetts, but I couldn't find any information on him. The Lizzie Borden house is actually still open to this day, and you can go there and go on tours and stuff because it's actually haunted, which yay, I love haunted stuff. But you can go there, you can get tours, you can stay there, do paranormal investigations, and I'm pretty sure it's a bed and breakfast. I could be wrong, but I think I've heard of it being like that. But yeah, I guess who really wants to go? Yeah, just like the Conjuring video, I would go there, honestly. I do plan to go there, actually. But all in all, it's still a really sad case, and I feel really bad for Andrew and Abby Borden that they never ended up catching who did it. Yeah, it's still, like I said, it's still an unsolved mystery to this day. Okay, I decided that I'm going to kind of give out my opinion about what actually happened, but yeah, so I watched multiple paranormal like videos about people going there, and lots of mediums who have gone there and actually ancestors of Lizzie Borden, and I seriously don't think she did it, even though she was really suspicious and she kept changing her story and she got poison and stuff. I just think she really had a hard time like getting along with her family, but I don't think she did it. Lots and lots of mediums say that they don't think she did it when they go there. If I had to guess if anybody was the murderer, I don't think it was Bridget Sullivan. I don't think it was the maid either, because I definitely think she knew something, and that's why she left and stuff, but I don't think she did. I just think she just knew something. But I do think it was the brother, because like that's just so why would you I'm still kind of confused. Why would you go to your brother's house and see police there, even if you didn't get along? Like, if you didn't care, you could have at least just said like, hey, is everything okay? I don't know. I really don't know, but it's still a mystery to this day. But anyways, if you like this video, make sure to smash that like button, maybe subscribe, and let me know down below in the comments, or if you guys have any other, like, if there's any other crimes or like paranormal stuff or murder or mysteries, anything like that you want me to cover. I would love to do that. I would love to make this into a series. Anyways, guys, I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!